Hey, welcome back everybody. I'm Kurt from Von Precision, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a different video. This video is just about me and where I come from. How did I learn what I learned? Where do I get this knowledge? How do I share it with you guys? And kind of give you a little bit, I guess just a little bit more of a personal note about me and my videos and my channel and sort of what we stand for. So a little bit about me. I started my working career as a mechanic, and I still have all my tools. A few years back, I got out of being a mechanic. That's a back-breaking job, but I still enjoy it. I still work in the industry. I do a little bit more with the numbers stuff now, but I really do enjoy the hands-on portion of mechanic work, and it's that, you know, I got to figure this out. I've got to diagnose something, electrical theory, and just the whole scope of it. So how this sort of ties into shooting and reloading is I grew up around guns. My grandfather used to take me pheasant hunting as a young child, and you know, we did that, you know, every October we'd go out to the field and, you know, go hunt for some pheasants and stuff like that. But I always enjoyed firearms and hunting and getting out in the outdoors and sort of the camaraderie of, you know, of people, like-minded people that have the same interests. Then I got into archery for several years. I was a big archery hunter. Did a lot of target shooting, a lot of competition shooting, things like that, and that was a lot of fun too. And you know, archery in its own little world, there's a lot of sort of ballistics that go into archery too. The spine of the arrow and you know, all the weights and the calculations. It's actually very similar. You're just not shooting quite as far. But I've always had firearms. I've always been a fan of firearms. So a little over 10 years ago, after shooting all the factory ammo and stuff, and you know, you go down to the store and you buy a factory rifle and you put a cheap scope on it and you go out and shoot and go, hey, look, I got a 2-inch group at 100 yards. I'm doing really good. And you know, I always saw videos or pictures or, you know, things where people are shooting little tiny groups. Man, how do they do that? And I guess the sort of the mechanic in me goes, how do you do that? I got to figure this out. Well, you know, 10, 15 years ago, YouTube wasn't as big. There wasn't as much information. You know, the internet was just still sort of kind of growing. So I relied a lot on kind of I call them the old timers, right? Some gun store owners that did some reloading, some custom stuff, gunsmiths. There's a guy, he's out of Shelton, Washington. His name is Randy Brandt. I'll put his phone number in the description below if you're in the area. He's an amazing gunsmith. The guy he's phenomenal. But anyways, you talk to these people, and they do a lot of reloading and stuff. But you know, when you start to reload, if you're new to it, you go, geez, how do you? Yeah, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on this thing. It's, you know, I'm going to blow myself up. And I maybe have said this in one of my other videos, but the very first time I ever fired my own reload in a rifle, I tied a string to the trigger, 10 feet back, and click! Holy smokes! Hey, it worked out, you know? So, but it was sort of that fear of the unknown and trying to figure it out. And, you know, yeah, you get some books and you read your books, but reading a book is different than doing it hands-on and trusting your work. And so about 15 years ago, I started to sort of get into this and kind of put the pieces together, and a lot of conversations with the guys who had done this a long time. And I, you know, hey, I made a lot of errors. I've split necks and bulged cases and popped primers out and all kinds of stuff. And that's, you know, it's part of the learning. Of course, it's better to not do that, right? But it's, I think one of the other reasons is it really, it works my mind, it keeps me busy, it keeps me active. I've got a little setup in my garage through my website, vonprecision.com. We do some reloading classes. I only do 1 or 2 people at a time because I think the best way to learn is to do hands-on, one-on-one, two-on-one at the most. Because people understand, they get to actually touch and feel. If I had a class of 30 people, you know, how are you gonna get 30 people to get hands-on with their specific cartridge? Is really hard to do. Well, it's almost impossible. Somebody's going to miss something, and that's not a good class, right? It's just not. So we do a little bit of just kind of hands-on stuff. We've only been doing this for just a little over a year now, or just about a year. And so getting people in and teaching them, and you know, it's great too. The one thing I really like about it the most is somebody can come over and go, okay, I'm shooting a pattern this big at 100 yards, and they think, yeah, it's okay, but we want to be a little better, and we want to save some money by reloading and things like that. So we go, okay, so we're gonna check the overall length up to the lands, and you know, powders and case measurements and all this stuff, and we go, okay, so we teach this stuff, and we go, okay, so now we're going to take it out to the range, and we're going to sort of put it to the test and see, you know, we might develop 5 different loads and sort of do the ladder test and go, okay, well, this one's not so good, but that one's really good, and this one's okay, and so we get out there and do this sort of thing, and people's eyes light up. They go, oh man, this is really cool. And then they get to go home, they get to order some reloading stuff, they get to set up a little workspace and in their garage or their, you know, a spare bedroom or whatever, and they get to do this, and you know, they're really happy. Or they get to go out and make that, you know, 500 yard, 800 yard, 1,000 yard, 1 mile shot, or whatever your fancy is. But it's gratifying. And then the other part of this is trying to figure out those external ballistics where, you know, the atmospheric pressure and you know, wind is, oh man, wind is tough. Trust me, I know that that is the worst part of long range shooting, is trying to figure out the wind, because wind changes from, you know, minute to minute, second to second. So, but you get out with people and that camaraderie, but it's not only just the people, it's not only you folks and the folks around here and the guys at the gun range, and gals too, lots of gals shoot too. But it's the family time, right? I got 2 young boys, and well, one's almost 18. See the gray? Yeah. But you know, my wife loves to shoot, and she's a great shot. My youngest boy, he's a good shot. My oldest, he's not necessarily into shooting. He does go shooting with me, which is really cool, but he's into photography, so he likes to get out and take pictures, and you know, he's into all that stuff. So, but we get to do this together, and I think that's something really important. And so through this whole thing, you know, kind of from where I started to where we are now, why do I do it? Well, it's fun. To me, it's fun. It's my hobby. Do I make a couple bucks on it? No, not really. But it's okay, right? It's still fun. Any hobby costs you money, because it's a hobby. It's not a career. I don't want to make this a career. I don't want to be, you know, if this was my full-time job, just like any full-time job, at some point you kind of just, you kind of get burned out, and it's monotonous. This is always a little bit more exciting, keeping it sort of at a part-time thing and learning more. And you know, and I don't know it all, not even close. I think I know a lot. I learn a lot from you know, the subscribers out there who, you know, hey, have you ever heard of this? Have you ever tried that? You know, like Taborosaurus Rex, he's got a great channel, and these guys phenomenal. He's amazing. And you know, I learned a lot about the external ballistics just watching his videos. And so, you know, and different products, and you know, different things. It's just where we just continue to kind of grow, but it's, you know, it's just fun. We do it because it's fun, and I want it to stay fun. So we're also kind of changing the subject just a little bit, but we do some product reviews. Now, you know, 99% of the stuff I've reviewed, I've had to work my normal job, make money, and go buy it. and I review it. I only review it if it's a good product. If it's not a good product, you won't see me review it. I would rather not say anything than say something negative. I don't want to be the guy out there bashing everybody and, oh, you piece of crap. No, I'd rather just not say anything at all. If somebody asked me, hey, what do you think about this? I might say, you might have a better option, but it's, it's still fun. And so the one thing I want, all my viewers and subscribers to know is if I review something, it's because I've tested it. It's because I've used it, and it's because it's worked every single time. And it's worked flawlessly every single time. If I've got to take it back and have it warrantied, I am not going to support it. I'm not going to review it. I'm not going to write about it. Not for me. And only the products that have held up through the testing that I do out in the field, and I'm not nice to my stuff, really. I'm kind of rough on it. I am rough on it. You go out and, I don't have big fancy gun cases with, 18 inches of padding and, I gotta be nice to this. No, throw it in the back seat of my truck and run. And get out of my truck, over my shoulder, up in the woods, throw it in the dirt, set my bipod up, take a shot, and when I'm done, I throw it back in my truck. Doesn't mean I don't clean it and care for it. It just means I don't pamper it. By any means, I don't pamper my stuff. So it's anything that I review on here, on any of the videos. If I've done any reviews that you watch, it's because I've tested it and it works, and I would be proud to say yes, I can. Anybody who watches my videos, you can be sure that I've tested it and that it works. At least it worked for me. Now, obviously, stuff breaks. Everything is mechanical. Everything breaks. Give it time. It will break. And, if I bought it yesterday and it broke today, we have a problem. If I bought it yesterday, or if I bought it 10 years ago and it's still working today, yeah, it works. If it works a year from now, yes, it works, right? So that's a little bit about me and why I do this and why I enjoy it so much. And, I really appreciate the comments, the camaraderie on YouTube. It's been great. I'm not a camera guy. I'm really not. But I do this because I do think there's a benefit to getting the information out to people, because 15 years ago it was really hard for me to find the information. Today it's a little bit easier. So it's fun, and some of the comments and stuff, and there's actually quite a few subscribers now that we email back and forth all the time, and I love all that stuff. It's great. And some of the subscribers have their own channel, and like-minded people. And so, we come up with little ideas and, hey, you should try this and stop doing it that way and give this a try, and maybe it'll work better for you. And sometimes, yeah, it really does. So the other thing we do too is, I love to get out and fish. We didn't get any videos this year of fishing, and fishing this year in Washington State. They cut down, they closed the salmon season for the longest time, and there was a big hoopla about that, and the crabbing was terrible this year. So unfortunately we didn't get to do that, but if you've watched some of my kayaking fishing videos, we love to get out there, and it's really peaceful. It's calm. You just get out there on the lake, paddle around and do some fishing, and sometimes you come home with some nice fish, sometimes you come home with a sunburn, but it's still fun. So I've enjoyed it, and I've certainly enjoyed everybody's comments and the camaraderie once again, and it's been really fun, and I appreciate it. And I just wanted to give my viewers sort of a more of an inside look on what we stand for, what I stand for, and where I'm coming from, and I hope this sort of builds that community of people that are like-minded in the guns and the fishing and the outdoors and hiking and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun, and I want to continue doing this. And like I said, I'm not getting rich doing it by any means, but not even close. But either way, it's fun, And so I hope you guys keep commenting. You know, another thing too, if you have some ideas, or you have a product you want me to test, if it's within my budget, yeah, I'll go buy it, I'll test it. Or if you have a tie with the manufacturer or a distributor, tell them, yeah, send it, I'll test it, whatever, I'll send it back when I'm done. And either I'll review it or I won't. Just depends on if it's any good or not. So, but either way, I'd follow up with you personally and say, yeah, it didn't work out so well, so I'm just not going to review it. But anyways, hey, it's been fun, and I hope, you know, I hope this year is a whole lot more fun. And I'm going to keep working on the sort of the reloading series, and you know, we do a lot of cooking too. I've got him a food nut, so do some cooking videos. We'll try to get out and do some fishing videos. And again, thank you all. I really appreciate it. And if you got any ideas, let me know. I'll make sure we get them posted.